What's going on, man? It's your boy Jay Holley, and we are back with another episode of Bleav in the Cowboys. I am your host, Jesse Holley, aka Mr. Fourth and Long, former Dallas Cowboys wide receiver. And you can find us, Bleav in the Cowboys, on the Bleav Network. You can find us wherever you get your podcast from, Apple, Spotify. You can also find us on YouTube, so make sure you like and you subscribe and you tell a friend. I tell y'all each and every week, I want to be a part of your life. I want to go in the fellas group chat. I want to go in the ladies group chat. I want to go in the family group chat. I want to go in the church group chat. I want to go in all the fantasy football group chat. I want to be a part of your life. So make sure you like, subscribe, tell a friend that we are here each and every week bringing you the best Cowboy content you can find. All right, before we get this show started, let me tell you about my friends over at BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most, trusted betting platform, your number one source of everything sports betting. Every stat, matchup breakdowns, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. With the largest catalog of odds on everything from football, Major League playoffs, NHL to NBA to political props. When the game is over, you can head on over to the online casino and get in on one of the blackjack games, the poker games, or unwind one of the 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet online, the game starts here. Well, my game starts Sunday, 3:30 Central Time, 3:25, whatever it is. Cowboys versus the Detroit Lions at AT&T Stadium. This game was a barn burner last year. If you remember, this was the game where Dan Campbell could have kicked the extra point, sent the game into overtime, but Dan Campbell in Dan Campbell fashion went for two, got a penalty, had another opportunity, got a penalty. It was the whole did he report, did he not report, or whatever it was. Had two opportunities to go ahead and kick the extra point. Dan Campbell said, screw logic, screw what you guys are talking about. I am going for the win, and he did not get it. Cowboys win that game by 1 point. But yesterday's price is not today's price. That team, that Detroit Lions team, has gotten better this season. This Cowboys team has gotten a little bit worse this season, and this team is a lot more injured than it was a year ago. Micah Parsons will still be out in this game. Tank Lawrence will still be out in this game. Marshawn Leland will be out in this game. And now there's a report that veteran middle linebacker Eric Kendricks did not practice yesterday, did not practice today, and is in doubt for playing in the game on Sunday with a calf and shoulder injury. Not good. Not a good look at all. And the reason being, Eric Kendricks is the quarterback of this defense. He is the one guy on the football field that knows Mike Zimmer's defense inside and out. He's your green dot guy. What does that mean? He is the guy that the call goes into. He is the quarterback of the defense. He gives all the checks up front. He gets guys lined up and in the proper place for them to be successful. You do not want to be without Eric Kendricks. Let me fix my mic. Hold on a second. These guys spin around. You do not want to be without Eric Kendricks for that reason. He is the one player on that defense, I think, that can settle guys. And then behind him, I guess you go back to, if he can't play, you go back to Damone Clark, who, from what I've been hearing in the locker room, Damone Clark is not a happy camper, isn't happy with the role that he has now been given with the emergence of Maris Luafau and DeMarion Overshown. So that's big news. That is big news. And if you don't have him, boy, are you in trouble. Boy, are you in trouble. Because what you're getting ready to face with this Lions defense, offense is going to be something very, very serious. And I think the Cowboys have gotten, it's been twofold. When you look at the Cowboys and what they have been the last couple of weeks in defense, they've gotten a little bit of eye rest and a little bit of a brain rest. What do I mean by that? What do you mean by that, Jesse Holley? I mean, if you look at what the New York Football Giants do, if you look at what the Pittsburgh Steelers do, you have two very simple, not complex offenses. They line up. They do very little motion. They do very little deception. They do very little misdirection, not a lot of eye candy, and they just line up and play football. And for the Cowboys, they were able to just man up, play the game, not have to worry about all the other things happening, pre-snap motion, motion at the snap, guys are moving, different formations, different personnel, and all these other things. That ends on Sunday. Because when you look at what the Detroit Lions, and I want to bring this stat up to understand a little bit more what the Detroit Lions are when it comes to pre-snap motion. When it comes to pre-snap motion or motion while the snap is happening, the Lions are tied for sixth in snaps at the motion, doing it 33% of the time, meaning when the ball is snapped, someone is moving. Whether that is escape, whether that is across the someone is moving at the snap of the ball 33% of the time. The Lions are fourth in motion overall. They are motioning 74% of the time. So just about every offensive snap, you will see some sort of motion from the Detroit Lions. Let me give you a gauge on what that means. In comparison to the Dallas Cowboys, the Cowboys are 30th in motions at the snap of the ball, only doing it 11% of the time. And they're 24th overall in motions, only using motion 47% of the time. You see the level of disparity in that? Another interesting fact. This comes from RJ Ochoa. We had RJ on here, our good friend RJ. RJ said the Dallas Cowboys defense allowed 9.8 yards per attempt on a pass play that has involved pre-snap motion so far this season. This is, if not obvious, the most in the NFL. Translation: when the ball or the team is motioning, the Cowboys defense is poo-poo. 9, almost a first down every time a pass attempt happens when motion is happening pre-snap. In addition to, Sam Laporta, the Dolphins tight end, has been sent in motion 37% of the time. Among those who qualify, that's the sixth highest rate in the NFL and notably the highest among tight ends. So you don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to have gone to Harvard. You don't have to be a cum laude at Yale to realize you didn't even have to stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night to know that the Detroit Lions are going to motion the hell out of the Dallas Cowboys. And it is the thing that they have struggled with the most. You go back and you look at the two losses that the Cowboys have had against the Saints and the Ravens. Motion, 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 motion. That's it. That's it. And the Detroit Lions are one of the foremost teams in this league who motion pre-snap, who motion at the snap. And they have the second best offensive line in football. The Detroit Lions had 5 Pro Bowlers last year offensively, 2 first-team All-Pros, Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown. This offensive line is loaded. And what I was impressed with when I watched the offensive line of the Detroit Lions was So when you talk about running backs getting 15-plus yard runs, right? We call them splash plays, explosive runs. Those are runs that are 15 yards or more. A lot of times you'll say, well, the offensive line has to block up front, and then the receivers have to block down the field. All are true. Two things can be true. But the key ingredient of it all that I think sometimes people leave out, it's the linemen who are able to get second-level blocks. That means if you have anybody in the box that are behind the defensive lineman, so if that safety come down in the box, if you have linebackers in the box, that's the second level. First level is the defensive line. Second level is the linebacker level. Third level is the safeties, right? And this team, the Dolphins, the Lions, they do such an incredible job getting to the second level, getting on those blocks, getting the blocks up front. They move, they recreate the line of scrimmage with their push, and then they get off blocks and get to the second level to tie up linebackers and box safeties. And that allows Jahmyr Gibbs, and that allows Montgomery, who are two really good backs. Strong, physical, fast, explosive, good vision, good contact balance. This team offensively is so balanced. It really is. And then you add the play action pass to the mix when it comes to Jared Goff. I look at this team, and it is a really well balanced offense in the Detroit Lions, and the Cowboys have their hands full. And you don't have Micah, and you don't have Tank, and you might not have Eric, and you don't have Nealon. You get DaRon Bland back. DaRon Bland, who was on IR with a foot injury, has participated in practice, and it looks like, from where I stand today, football is very fluid. Things can change between now and game day. It looks like he's going to play. Some are saying he's going to play in a limited role on a pitch count. We shall see. But that's a good thing that you get DaRon Bland back. Now you can have kind of DaRon Bland as your corner, and then Jordan Lewis as your nickel slot guy, and then, of course, Trayvon Diggs on the other side. That helps. That helps. But I don't think this is going to be a game where you have to air it out in front of the Detroit Lions. I think this is the game where I would be, and I don't want to sound poo-poo, because I'm going to give you a little bit of hope. I'm going to give you some hope. Cowboy Nation, I'm going to give you a little hope. But I would be shocked. And I would be highly, 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 highly impressed if the Cowboys defensively are able to keep this Lions running game under 175 yards. I know, like, they're like, damn, Jeff, that's a lot. I would be shocked. I would be shocked with all of what they're missing and how good this offense is of the Detroit Lions. I would be shocked if the Detroit Lions don't have 175 yards or more on the ground between the two running backs. That's just my personal opinion from what I've seen on film. We just don't have it. It's a matchup nightmare. Scheme-wise, it's a matchup nightmare. The Cowboys schematically don't play well against teams who motion like they motion, who switch up personnel like the Lions switch up personnel. You're going to see everything, 12, 21. You're going to 12. You're going to see, one tight end, two backs, two receivers. 21, two tight ends, one back, two receivers. You're going to see 13 personnel. 13 personnel. One tight end. Sorry, three tight ends, one back, one wide receiver. 22 personnel. You're going to see all the different type of personnel that they're going to be in their bag. That's just how they operate. That's how they roll. They want to be in their bag, doing everything that they can to get you off your keys. And the Cowboys just have eye discipline problems. Look at the losses. When they play teams who play them straight up, they're fine. They're fine when they got to go against Cleveland straight up, New York straight up, Pittsburgh straight up. But when there's a little bit of movement, when there's a little bit of deception, the Cowboys defensively struggle. And this is going to be a game where it happens again. Now, here is your hope. Your hope is that you can find a way to limit Aiden Hutchinson from going off. If you can find a way to not let Aiden, who right now leads the league in sacks, right now who leads the league in quarterback pressures, if you can find a way, I'm telling y'all, just if you are a praying man or woman and you're in Cowboy Nation, send up a Hail Mary. Because if the Cowboys can find a way to block up and limit the destruction that Aiden Hutchinson can cause, you have a chance, at least offensively. Detroit gives up a ton of plays in the passing game. I don't think it's going to be a game where Rico gets off for 87 yards again or 90 yards. The Cowboys have not, they're 19 games since they've had a 100-yard rusher. A season in 2 games since they've had a 100-yard rusher. Don't think it's happening on Sunday. But I do think that you can make a bunch of plays in the passing game. I said this last week, and it applies this week. If the Cowboys are going to have a fighting chance in this game, Dak Prescott, for the second straight week, you're going to have to loosen up the tie, unbutton the shirt, step inside the booth. Superman is alive. You are going to have to be Superman. It is no ifs, ands, buts about it. And you're going to have to be Superman minus the turnovers, because you won't be able to get into the red zone and not score and beat the Detroit team. You're going to need 30 points. Now, we all remember the performance that he and CeeDee Lamb put on last year. CeeDee Lamb, 227 yards, 2 touchdowns, over 10 receptions in that game. Absolute monstrous game. You're going to need another one. You're going to have another one. Michael McCarthy from Pittsburgh, you're going to have to put together one of your best game plans. You're going to have to get so deep in your bag. Louis, Goyard, Gucci, YSL, whatever bag you got, whatever duffel you got, Michael McCarthy from Pittsburgh, you're going to have to dig so deep in that bag, because it is going to require everything that you have offensively, because you cannot make mistakes. You cannot drive the length of the field, get into the red zone, and kick field goals. Field goals are not going to win you this football game. No, ma'am. No, sir. No, anybody. You got to score touchdowns. And there are touchdowns to be had in the passing game for this offense. For whatever reason, there is this losing of the lamb in the second half of games. Let me read you an interesting stat, and I hope this changes, because I don't think it's a recipe for success long term. It's great that some other guys are picking up the slack, but this season alone, in the second half, don't know where CeeDee Lamb has went. Don't know where he has went. Let me give you these stats. CeeDee Lamb, in the first half of football games this year, has 21 catches for 353 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half. In the second half of football games this year, this is total, he's only had 4 catches for 25 yards, 0 touchdowns. I get that some other guys are stepping up and playing well for the Cowboys. I get it. I understand it. But you're going to need for these guys to be superb for 4 quarters. For 4 quarters. You cannot have CeeDee Lamb go missing during that time. Cannot. It is one of those deals where if if you are lost, if CeeDee Lamb is lost, if the chemistry is not there, then it is going to be a very bad situation for the Cowboys. But that's your hope. Your hope is that Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb can have an absolute amazing game because there are wonderful plays to be made. Yes, you want some sprinkled in from Tolbert. Yes, you want some sprinkled in from Ferg. But you are going to need CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott to be ginormous. And that's just the bottom line of it. That is the bottom line of it. If you're not there offensively like you're supposed to be, this thing will look very bad. So that's all I got. That's all I got for you, man. This is going to be an interesting game. I don't think the Cowboys will fare well in this game. I got the Cowboys losing this game 30-17 to the Detroit Lions. I think the run game is just too much. I think that offensive line is just too good. They have two really good backs. And Dan Campbell, I think, is coming back in here, and he's like, I am going to revenge my loss from last year. So we'll see what happens. I'll report back to you next week. But that's what I got. I got Lions 30, Cowboys 17. But that's why I play the games on Sunday. We'll see how it goes. All right, man, that's it for me. Remember, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all the places that you can get your podcast new from. Bleav in the Cowboys, Bleav Network. Go find Bleav in the Cowboys. I am your boy, Jay Holley. Find me on Twitter at Mr. Fourth and Long. Tweet me, I tweet back. All those good things, man. That's it for me. Remember, eliminate the contingencies. I'm out.